does God protect those who are loyal to him and carry them safely into his kingdom? Let's begin in Esther 9 and 10. Does evil produce the exact opposite of what wicked people expect? Now in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day, the time came for the king's command and his decree to be executed. On the day that the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, the opposite occurred, in that the Jews themselves overpowered those who hated them. The Jews gathered together in their cities, throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, to lay hands on those who sought their harm, and no one could withstand them, because fear of them fell upon all people. And all the officials of the provinces, the satraps, the governors, and all those doing the king's work helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's palace, and his fame spread throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai became increasingly prominent. Did the Jews also conquer their main enemy, Haman, and his sons? So the Jews went ahead on the appointed day and struck down their enemies with the sword. They killed and annihilated their enemies, and did as they pleased with those who hated them. In the fortress of Susa itself, the Jews killed 500 men. They also killed Parshandatha, Dalphon, Aspatha, Poratha, Adalia, Aridatha, Parmashta, Arazai, Aradai, and Vizatha, the 10 sons of Haman, son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, but they did not take any plunder. How many enemies were slain, and what was Esther's request? On that day the number of those who were slain in the citadel of Susa was brought before the king. The king said to Esther the queen, "The Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in the citadel of Susa, including the 10 sons of Haman. What then have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now what is your petition? It shall be granted you. What is your further request? It shall be done." Then Esther said, "If it pleases the king, let it be granted to the Jews who are in Susa to do tomorrow also to today's decree, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the gallows." The king commanded this to be done. A decree was given out in Susa, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. The Jews who were in Susa gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and killed 300 men in Susa, but they didn't lay their hand on the plunder. How did the Jews deal with enemies throughout the provinces? The Jews out in the royal provinces also joined together to defend their lives. They put to rest the troubles with their enemies and killed those who hated them. The total was 75,000 dead, but the Jews didn't lay a hand on anything their enemies owned. They acted on the 13th day of the month of Adar. Then on the 14th day they rested, making it a day of feasts and rejoicing. The Jews in Susa joined together for self-defense on the 13th and 14th days of the month. But they rested on the 15th day of the month, and made it a day of feasts and joyous events. That's why Jews who live in villages make the 14th day of the month of Adar a day of rejoicing and feasts, a holiday. It's a day on which they send gifts of food to each other. How did Purim get its name, and what notable celebrations occur then? Mordecai wrote these things down and sent letters to all the Jews in all the provinces, both near and far, of King Ahasuerus. He made it a rule that Jews keep the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar as special days each and every year. They are the days on which the Jews finally put to rest the troubles with their enemies. The month is the one when everything turned around for them, from sadness to joy, and from sad, loud crying to a holiday. They are to make them days of feasts and joyous events, days to send food gifts to each other and money gifts to the poor. The Jews agreed to continue what they had already begun to do, just what Mordecai had written to them. Indeed, Haman, Hammedatha the Agagite's son, the enemy of all the Jews, had planned to destroy the Jews. He had servants throw pur, that is, the dice, to find the best month and day to trouble greatly and destroy them. What did Mordecai's letter say? Is Purim still a celebration for the Jews? Esther went to King Xerxes and asked him to save her people. Then the king gave written orders for Haman and his sons to be punished in the same terrible way that Haman had in mind for the Jews, so they were hanged. Mordecai's letter had said that the Jews must celebrate for 2 days because of what had happened to them. This time of celebration is called Purim, which is the Hebrew word for the lots that were cast. Now every year the Jews set aside these 2 days for having parties and celebrating, just as they were told to do. From now on, all Jewish families must remember to celebrate Purim on these 2 days each year. Did Esther also write a letter about Purim to all the provinces of Persia? Then Queen Esther, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, gave full written authority, confirming this second letter about Purim. Letters were sent to all the Jews, to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, in words of peace and truth that these days of Purim should be observed at their appointed seasons, as Mordecai the Jew and Queen Esther obligated them, and as they had obligated themselves and their offspring, with regard to their fasts and their lamenting. The command of Esther confirmed these practices of Purim, and it was recorded in writing. How did God bless Mordecai's legacy and position in Persia? King Ahasuerus imposed a tax throughout the land, even to the farthest shores. All of his powerful and magnificent accomplishments, and the detailed account of Mordecai's great rank, to which the king had honored him, have they not been written in the historical records of the kings of Media and Persia? Mordecai the Jew was second only to King Ahasuerus, famous among the Jews and highly popular with many of his relatives. He continued to seek good for his people and to speak for the welfare of all his descendants. Did Paul worry whether God provides protection from the ultimate disaster? The Lord will rescue me from every evil attack and will take me safely to his heavenly kingdom. Glory belongs to him forever and ever. Amen. Does God protect those who are loyal to him and carry them safely into his kingdom? You decide.